Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas. Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado.
Because this here's the wildest ride in the wilderness.
Hello, everyone. I'm Alicia.
I'm Nathan.
And I'm Tiffany.
Welcome to episode 54 of Adventures and Mousecapades.
Today, we're counting presents to make sure Santa was fair to everyone in the family, because this is critically important.
According to Sterling, yes, he was down there counting everything.
and you've got to have individual distribution piles for everybody. It's very organized.
Yes.
For a little bit, and then it just devolves into chaos. But, so goes Christmas mornings. There's another voice that you heard. Yes. Welcome, Tiffany.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Do you want to kind of give a little bit of intro on how we connected and kind of who you are?
Yes. So my name is Tiffany, and I am basically Disney obsessed and have been for quite a long time. So I met you through the Disney universe, right? Through work. And we run a little group at work where we can all chat Disney. And so that's kind of what led me to you. But I've been a Disney fan for ever and ever. I think since we were teeny tiny, me and my brother, my parents actually raised us to be Disney obsessed. We went as often as we possibly could, I think, from the age of 3.
Nice.
That's very cool. I'm jealous. I was late to the Disney party, but I definitely jumped in full
as long as
full
you're
speed. Here. Exactly. I eventually made it.
Kind of yanked you in and made you a fan, I guess.
Yeah, it didn't take it's one of those things.
No.
I don't know if I really want to jump in the pool, and then you get in and it's like, oh, this is the best thing ever. Let's go swimming forever. So,
it is.
Yeah, it's great. It is great. So we're here today because you have a little kiddo, right?
I do. I have an almost 3-year-old and thought I would share my experience with taking a 2.5-year-old to Disneyland, California recently. All the other times I've been, it's been as a Disney adult. I've gone many, many times with my husband and with girlfriends, and even some of my nieces and nephews who are older, but never a toddler. So this was a first.
Got it. So first trip for
her name is Avalie, and she has definitely been shown the Disney World, as she's been growing up via TV and music and just experiences. So she definitely knows who Minnie and Mickey are, and we geared her up for that.
That's so much fun. It is. We were talking before we started recording. Like, it's been a hot minute since we had a little kid at Disney World or Disneyland. So. Thank you for helping us help, the 3 people, well, I guess with you involved, the 4 people who listen to the podcast.
There's a couple more than that, don't worry.
There's a few more than that. But no, I think it's important to have kind of, especially as everything keeps changing in the parks.
Yes.
It's important to have a recent experience to share. Mm-hmm. And
And I will say, when I went and did my research, there was some information out there that's recent for Disney World, but really not a lot for Disneyland specifically, and really not a lot geared towards toddlers, especially first experiences. There was a lot of, babies and, use the care center and all of that, but we're kind of over that hump. So we needed something else. So I thought it would be fun to provide some of my, insights after actually experiencing it and researching it and all of that.
Nice. Cool. So can you tell us a little bit about your trip?
Yes, so we chose to go in November because my daughter is absolutely obsessed with Christmas, and that is when they kick off the Christmas season in Disneyland. It's right in that sweet spot. I think we went November 14th, so I think we were there only a couple days after they opened for the holiday season. So she very much loves the lights and the Christmas trees, and very much into Santa as well. So it wasn't just about Minnie and Mickey. She definitely wanted to meet Santa once she found out that he would be there and making an appearance in Disneyland.
Of course. It's the main man. I mean, forget the mouse. Let's talk to Santa.
Yeah.
Did you all fly down there, or did you
We
drive?
did, and that was a big part of actually our research, was just how we're even getting there. In the past, and as an adult, you just can hop into a Lyft or an Uber, and from the airport, and you're golden. But with the car seats and the strollers and all of that, there's a lot more that went into our planning for getting us all there. I will say that we decided this round to stay on resort. Before we'll go to the resort and then we'll travel elsewhere, go visit the beach or another park or something like that. But since this was her first time, we did only do the Disneyland resort, and we stayed on property.
Oh, wow.
So that really helped us manage, whether or not to bring the car seat. We chose not to. We picked a company that actually had the car seat in the vehicle once we got there, and it was all in and everything, so that went well. But had we decided to, let's say, rent a vehicle and travel to the beach, we would have decided to bring our own. So I think that really kind of what your vacation is will dictate whether or not you want to bring and lug around that car seat with you.
Right.
So
there's a lot of planning that goes with just going to the store when you have a kid. Forget flying 1,000 miles and going to a theme park and staying in the hotels. Which hotel did you stay in?
We stayed at the Grand Californian.
Nice.
Oh,
yes.
Someday.
We splurged, and I will say over the pandemic, I have a Disney Visa. And I saved and saved and saved. And so we used lots and lots of our points to get us there. So we splurged with those.
We're DVC owners out of Aulani in Hawaii, and we have never been able to use our points in California. We can find a room.
Few rooms.
We can find a room like almost last minute in Florida and not have a problem. But California is impossible.
Yes.
Yep. It's the only thing that's kept us actually from DVC membership, is we're over on the California side, and we just it's too
They're building a new
tricky.
tower.
I
They're
know.
building a new tower.
I saw it at construction. So
We'll see. Okay, so what research did you do? I mean, it sounds like you did you looked up a bunch of things and you found a bunch of things about Florida, not so much about California. Like what sources did you use, and then did you find anything that really spoke to you that worked really well? Is there stuff that didn't work really well?
Yeah. First, I will say that I had originally planned to provide my daughter with lots of experiences home that she could then relate to once she got there. So we watched some YouTube videos of rides, of other toddlers meeting characters. She really ate that up, But I think the biggest lesson for me and my husband was to just be flexible. So when we got there, we thought for sure we would be good. We got there for the extra half hour that they have with us being on site. It was great, opportunity for riding rides. She didn't want to have anything to do with the rides. I think we got her on only a couple, and then all she wanted to do was characters. So that was probably our biggest lesson was just to not have, these set expectations, and to really just pivot and give her choices, right? Yeah. So a couple of times we were, do you want to, ride Small World, or do you want to go meet Mickey, and she would usually pick Mickey, we wanted to follow Mickey around the park, but, at least we had that option to try the ride, and suggest it again. So that was probably our biggest lesson, was just be so flexible with the kid.
I think that's a good lesson for adults at Disney too. Just have a list of stuff that you'd love to do, but just go with the flow.
And nowadays know the app. Because one thing for me is I don't love having my phone on me all the time, but because I had some time to look through the app, I knew to then, as an adult, I don't go searching for the characters, for example. But because I knew the app, I was able to then go find the character locator and figure out where they would be right when my toddler was ready to go see someone. So that was really helpful, was knowing how that app worked.
Were there any other kind of things that you found in your research that worked really well, that applied really well?
Yes. So knowing where to park the stroller, for example. So our daughter is not big on strollers, but we brought it's actually a very small, compact stroller that we could just carry on as a bag on the airport and then just break it out when we needed to. But having that stroller figured out, I had watched a bunch of videos from one of my favorite vloggers, has a toddler, Pixie Dusted Mom, if anybody wants to go check her out. But she was great at breaking down what was helpful for her and her toddlers in packing the stroller and where to park it in the morning. So, hey, have a strategy of knowing where to park it before you go onto the rides or visit your certain area so that you're not trying to figure that right at rote drop and you're not getting lost in the, the big groups of people also trying to figure it all out. You have a plan. So really just having that knowledge and knowing what you need to take in and out and having a plan for security with the stroller too. So the stroller seems like something so small. You get her in, you can push her, right? But it's actually quite complicated in figuring out where to put the snacks and, letting security unzip and all of that. So
yep, they have to see everything. Any pocket you have, it has to be opened so they can look into it.
So as little things to take in and out of that bag, and keeping it small for us really helped simplify that. Where we went with minimal as opposed to our comfort, stroller. But yeah.
Now, you said she only wanted to do a couple of rides.
Yes.
Or only went on one ride? What ride did you go on with her?
Well, we practiced by going to the local zoo and trying the carousel. The first time we ever tried, she did not want to ride it. Well, she thought she did, and then she didn't. But by the time we got to Disneyland, she did want to ride that. So that really helped, by practicing that carousel. So we did do that. Then we did Dumbo. And then I think where the turning point for us was the dark ride. So we tried Alice in Wonderland. And I think for her, it was the lack of control, not being able to get off when she wanted to or see what was coming next.
Yeah.
So we, after that, we kept it to the rides that, where it was a little bit lighter outside, that kind of thing. The train, we told her to get to Santa, we needed to ride the train. so we did take the train to go see Santa, and she seemed to really enjoy that.
So you probably didn't do like Mr. Toad's Wild Ride.
Absolutely not. No.
That may have been a little much.
Yeah. And that actually was a tip that I had shared with another friend who was going to Disney for the first time with his family and a toddler. And I gave him the info of which dark rides may not be toddler friendly. And that was definitely one of them.
Don't go on Mr. Toad's.
Yeah.
Nope.
Pinocchio, too, is a little scary, I
Pinocchio.
think. Yeah. So knowing which ones are scary and which ones, are safe bet, like Small World, she was okay with. Yeah.
Did she like it at all?
She was ready to get off about halfway, and sometimes so am I.
Yeah, I was just saying that's a fairly common thread with a lot of people, I would say.
Yeah. Another tip that I learned as well that I would love to share was for toddlers especially is snacks. So through the airport, pack more than you think you need. And then because she ate everything that we brought and was ready for more. And then for the park specifically, breakfast. So, everything is on the app now, but we actually ordered groceries to be delivered to the hotel the day we arrived, and it was a game changer for us because we were able to quickly get down fruit, yogurt, fill up our water bottles, and just go instead of trying to figure out what was open for breakfast or which line we needed to stand on or mobile order and wait. So having, us all fed, myself and my husband included,
right.
And having our snacks all refilled every morning really helped us. And it was super easy to order it and have it delivered to the hotel.
Right.
Nice.
And then if you're still hungry, you can always, go the Hobbit method and have a second breakfast if you need
we
to.
did that.
Yeah.
Definitely did that.
Is there any advice that you got from your research that didn't work well, that turned out I won't do that again?
A lot of the videos tell you what to pack and what to buy from Amazon, for example. And so I did buy a lot of those things and then didn't end up needing a lot of them. So an example would be a special wipes carrier with a little ring on it that let you carry it around. It might have been good for a baby, but I just didn't need it. I usually had a small pack of travel wipes in my bag with me. So, I think for us, just being minimal, so trying to stay away from just trying to buy all the things to make it work.
Yeah.
I think that was probably my biggest lesson because I ended up with, more than I needed, so.
Yeah, it is tempting to get all the gadgets, but they're not necessarily always needed.
The other advice that I know a lot of people have given to before is to bring souvenirs with you, so go buy one that's a little bit cheaper that you can then offer the child when you get there so you're not buying some of the more expensive souvenirs. For us, that's something that did not work. She saw it, she wanted it, I wanted it, I wanted to experience it too. So for us, having some of those things pre-packed just didn't, I wouldn't say it was a winner. I probably wouldn't do that again, aside from some special outfits or something like that. But some of the toys or things like that, we really didn't need to pre-plan any of those things. I think it also depends on budget, but for us, that one wasn't something that we needed to do, and I ended up with more than we needed to bring home in that case.
Got it.
I will say for purchases, though, one thing that did work well, and it's not something I read, it was something that actually we handed down from our own family. My parents would let us pick a stuffy our first night, so a stuffed animal, so that we could have that comfort item the first night we're there. So we would go to the Disney store, wherever, and go pick out that stuffy. And that really worked for her as well. So she had something to really cling to that she picked out herself for that first night. And now when we're home, she knows that that's where she got it, it's from Disneyland. So that's something that really worked well for us.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Did you just go to the Disneyland park, or did you also go to California Adventure?
We did both, and that's a great question because so in our research, everything is all about Genie Plus nowadays, and then the park hopper, right? So normally I would go and grab the park hopper, or I had an annual pass, so I could just hop back and forth where when I needed to. But with it being her first time and not knowing how she would respond, we actually did the 1 day only per park and picked, and that worked really well for us, especially with her age, because we were able to just focus on one park and then take our break, which I also highly recommend even for the adults, is a nap time or just rest, get the feet up. So we were able to just focus on the one park, not trying to figure out back and forth or reservations between the two. It was all just one area, and that was awesome. We also did not buy Genie Plus. The only thing we did do that was part of the Genie system was we bought some of the character photos, but we only did the one at a time based on the one that we wanted. It was kind of expensive that way, but it wouldn't have saved us any more money to get Genie Plus since we weren't writing anything.
Have you tried Genie Plus? Like on another trip? Have you been there?
I have not. I'll get to try it in February because she's not coming with me in February. It's going to be a girls' trip. So I will get to go. But I did not try it. I did go to my husband had her one evening, and I was able to go in on my own and try some of the bigger rides. Like I hadn't ridden Ride of the Resistance yet and was able to do that. I thought about, buying a pass, but I think it's Lightning Lane, but didn't need it. Went at a good time and just walked into the line. I also did a little bit of research on knowing kind of when the sweet spot was for hitting that. So it helps to again research and kind of know the lay of the land. So
gone is the spontaneity of the Disney trip.
Exactly.
You really
it's
have to
sad
plan
and true.
so much. Yeah.
We'll have to have you back on here later in the spring after you've done that trip and see if you tried out Genie Plus and what you thought of it. Genie Plus is a not infrequent conversation topic around our house.
We do not enjoy it.
It's not necessarily always positive.
No.
I've definitely with my friends that we talk about regularly. It's a hot topic as well, and I really mulled over whether or not to get it. Because I thought, well, me and my husband, we could switch off and get on and off. Same with the parent parent pass. We didn't end up trying that. I can't remember what that's called now.
The ride
but
swap.
Rider switch.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. We didn't end up trying that either because there's a lot of planning that has to go into it. You have to go to the line with both parents, for example, and usually we'd have one parent off with her, and the other gets a snack. So rarely were we together to even think about that. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Genie Plus, if you're a group who is going to take advantage of the photo pass and do a bunch of pictures, I think Genie Plus may work out well because it's about the same to get a day pass for all those pictures and just get everything. I think it's about, my thinking
I would say
is
only one person needs to do the pass for photos.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And now I'm thinking this is Disney World. You should double check that in Disneyland if that's the same perks.
You don't get the pictures at Disney World. You get the pictures at Disneyland.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't, we went to
the
both
pictures
this year,
are
and so my
included.
brain is
Yeah.
lost.
Yes.
So what was Avalie's favorite thing that she got to do at Disney? Like, what do you think is, other than
Meet
the stuffy?
Mickey. Hug Mickey and Minnie. She was constantly asking where they were and when she could see them again. I will say that we ended up booking, which they're kind of hard to get, is the breakfast with Minnie and friends in the Plaza Inn first thing in the morning. And I actually planned it for a little bit later in the morning. So thinking we would get on a few rides and then go have breakfast. But we ended up booking another character breakfast while we were there on our very last day because she loved it so much. I mean, having the characters come to you is just everything, right? She really didn't eat a lot, but at least we were able to get a few bites in between the characters and all of that. And then just having, them run through and interact with her. And even when they weren't interacting with her, she could watch them interacting, with others without waiting in the line. So that really worked out well. We did the Plaza Inn and the Storytellers.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, nice.
So we did two different versions, and it was interesting because the Plaza Inn, you walk in and you get a picture with Minnie. So that's great because you instantly know you get to meet Minnie and you get to take home the picture, but then you don't see Minnie the rest of the time. So she loves
Just at the
Minnie
beginning.
and wanted to see Minnie and kept asking when Minnie was going to come visit her. So that was the only downside I would say to that one. Oh, I will say though, at Plaza Inn though, we saw so many characters. We saw Chip and Dale. We saw, I think, Pluto. We saw some of the Cinderella mice. I mean, so many were coming through. I couldn't even keep track. Whereas Storytellers, we saw two maybe the whole time we were there and did not get a photo, and it was so much more expensive. So while it was fun because it was Minnie and Mickey specifically, I think Chip and Dale might have made their way through too. It was just so crowded, and they just didn't have as many character options. But the food was really good. So it really depends, I think, on what you want. Do you want the characters, or do you want, the service and the food? Because I think that's what we paid more for at Storytellers. Whereas I think for us, Plaza Inn was better because of all the characters that went through for her.
We've done both of those, and I agree that Plaza Inn has some amazing obscure characters.
Yes.
And they have a lot of characters that come through.
Yes.
Last time we did Storytellers was before you could hug the characters again. So they just kind of went around, did a parade type thing.
They actually did a little bit of that as well this time around. They still visited and gave hugs, but they definitely focused on that parade around, which just didn't work as well for a toddler who just really wants to get up there and
meet
hug
them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've done, what's it called? Goofy's Kitchen.
Yeah.
Over at the Disneyland Hotel. And I would do that one over Storytellers if you want a character experience. I can't remember. It seems like it had more characters and it was just more, you had more opportunity for a personal experience with the characters as they went around. And you can't go wrong with Mickey waffles no matter where you get them. So it's all good.
That's so true. Yeah, the great thing about the Minnie Mouse one too is that I think they were mini waffles and they were small,
nice.
so it was cute because it was very themed. I'm all about a theme. So,
Is there anything that really didn't go well? Like you tried to do something and it resulted in a meltdown, or kind of like
the meltdown.
Sorry if I triggered a memory.
There's usually one every trip.
Yeah, we
With the littles.
definitely got to some verge of meltdowns, but I think that staying on property really saved us there because we didn't have to then, go a long ways to get her just back to the hotel. And because I wasn't worried about, I really only made that one breakfast reservation. So we didn't have any place to be, there was no other stressors added, but she did have a couple of moments where, she was tired and just worn out. So I would say I think at this point it's been a little while now, so I've kind of forgotten about those and have been focusing on the things, the beautiful pictures with Mickey, right?
Yes.
So as far as the things that didn't go well, maybe there's a couple of meltdowns where I knew she was hungry and we couldn't get the food fast enough for her, so you just miss that magic window. Or you just can't get it fast enough because there's a line. Like I said, that knowing that app is everything. Like order your food as soon as you know you're kind of sort of getting hungry.
Yeah.
And say you're there to pick it up, because even if you're mobile ordering, it doesn't happen right away. So many times, especially around the meal times, we would all of a sudden be hungry, let's say around 4, but couldn't order anything for mobile pickup until, let's say, 5:30. So it's like, oh my gosh, we can't wait this long. And there's no longer a lot of options to just walk up and go get it, other than a couple sweets or churros. So again, having those snacks, saved us. And just, I learned by the end of the trip to start asking my husband and the toddler, are we hungry? Do we think we're getting hungry? What do we think we want? Here's what's nearby, because the first, I want to say, night, we did have a couple of, we didn't get food in her fast enough or into the husband fast enough.
Is there, obviously for your husband, was there something that you brought from home to help comfort him through the trip?
Honestly, I think for him, giving him time to play on his phone and have his feet up while the toddler was sleeping was probably the best for him while I ran out. And it was good for me, too, while I ran out and got to play. So I would say the swapping of the kids for us really worked.
How about for Everly? Was there anything that you brought from home or something like that to really help her feel grounded and not,
That's a great
no matter whether
question.
you're at Disney or not, like just taking a little kiddo and you're in a hotel room and it's a strange place and there's strange noises and you hear people in the hallway and like was there any tips around that?
Yeah, we did bring, so she's not one of those kiddos that has an attachment to specific stuffies or blankets like she kind of does. So we did bring a couple from home that that were familiar with her. We also let her pack her own little backpack, which was great because then she knew what she wanted to bring, and also giving her a job to do to be helpful with the family. As let's say we were going through the airport, hey, can you help us carry, this bag and get us through security? And then she had something to focus on. And then when we sat down, she knew she could unzip her backpack and get out what she wanted from it. Those kind of things really helped her, I think, and kind of have that autonomy to know that she was also a part of the planning process and the family moving along, as we were getting from one place to another.
Nice. What's your biggest takeaway? What did you learn for next time with your daughter? Suggestion for yourself that you wrote down. They were like, I can't forget this, or I need to do this a little differently. Maybe
I will never not order food again. The groceries. Like for us, that was, like I said, a game changer. It's just having those fresh groceries in our room when we woke up, like fresh fruit, all that. Like I said, that was a game changer for me. So I have not done that in the past. I haven't really needed to, because as an adult, you just I go to Starbucks, go grab something.
Right.
I can wait if I'm hungry. But with the kids, like that was, if I bring her again, I'm doing that 100% every time. Also, I think, again, just that pre-planning and talking to her a lot about it. Like even when we got home, knowing I want to take her again, I have already started saying, what do you think about, which rides you want to try the next time we go? Do you think that you'll want to try Alice again and see if you like it? Or, just those kind of things to get that seed planted that we do plan to go again. We do plan to see the characters again. And what do you get her feedback and her thoughts on kind of how that will go. And that will help me figure out then how to plan as well.
Makes sense. Good advice.
Yeah. What was your most magical moment on this trip?
I will admit that I cried a little when she hugged Mickey for the first time. And you just, like I said, being flexible is everything. I really didn't know how that would go. For me as a child, I did not like the characters as much, so I wasn't sure if she would, but they were everything for her, and she just would, the way she just ran up, and the characters, I don't know if you know this, but they don't let go first. They let the child let go first. She would hug them just as long as she possibly could and not let go. And, we had to kind of usher her along a little bit so that she wasn't stealing all the time, but gosh, she would just... while she did not want to wait in line for much, she would wait in line for the characters, and that was just so magical to me. I definitely seeing her with Mickey and Minnie. It was just so special. We also took a picture, actually, the first time we waited in line for Mickey. It was later, one of our first nights, and she was on that verge of tired, and so we were like, are you sure you want to wait in line? Maybe we'll just see Mickey in the morning. And she was like, no, we're gonna wait in line. So but I think we were 2 people away, and she fell asleep and just zonked out, but we took the picture anyway with her sleeping and told Mickey shh, as we were approaching, and got that picture, and we actually did end up purchasing it, because then we showed her later, we actually did see Mickey. You happened to be asleep. But then she was ready to go do it again the next day. It was still special. She wasn't upset about it because we documented it, that kind of thing. So that was fun.
Well, and that's going to be a fantastic picture for you to have for your memories and scrapbooks and
exactly. A lot of this was for us. I don't know how much she'll remember, but definitely, memories made for mom and dad.
Yes.
We were just talking with our daughter, who's she's coming up on 18 here pretty quick. And she mentioned we were watching something on YouTube, and it was Cinderella's Royal Table in the castle in Florida.
Yeah.
And she's like, I kind of remembered going to that lunch. And we were like, really? She doesn't remember much about that trip, and she was 4.5. But something about that experience, solidified in her
and you
little
just
brain.
Don't know what is going to be the takeaway. So yeah.
And she was so shy to meet all the princesses. I'm really surprised that was a core thing. I'm glad it was, but you're right. As with real little kids, it's like, this is a little bit about them and some fun times for them, but it's really for us and for some memories that we're making.
I am living vicariously for sure. And they didn't have the princess experience, the I can't remember now what they call it, but the getting dressed up like a princess and having your hair done and all of that. We have not done that yet. I plan to in another trip, but you can be sure that Mama's just as excited about it.
Now, is she
Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique.
Yes, that. Thank you.
Yes.
Is she into the princesses yet, or is it more Mickey and Minnie at this time?
She's definitely more into Mickey and Minnie, but she likes dressing up and being like a ballerina or having crowns or tutus. So I think that she'll enjoy it. And we brought our own version of that because she wasn't quite old enough for that experience. I think they just opened it up, and I just wasn't sure with it being the first trip, but definitely we'll try it here because I think it's 3 and over. So she's getting close. So
just prepare for the glitter.
Oh yeah, everywhere.
There's glitter. Yeah.
They actually were doing pixie dust outside the door of the boutique, so you don't always have to pay for the whole experience. So if you want that glitter to be found everywhere for the rest of your trip, you definitely stop by and ask for some pixie dust.
Yeah, you actually don't have to pay for that. If you go up to the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, anybody, even adults, and if you tell them that you would like to get pixie dusted, they will pixie dust you.
Yes, it's very fun.
It's great for those who want it, but for me, it's a hard pass on the glitter.
My husband definitely went the long way around, so they never near it.
Is there any other advice that you'd have for parents? A lot of times folks are wondering whether it's right to bring their kids. Is it worth all of the planning and the research? And let's face it, there's a lot of extra work and some hassle to bring a little kid to a Disney park. Is there any advice that you'd have? Is it worth it?
I asked myself the same question because I wasn't sure, and I had friends that were on either end of those camps, right? I had the friends who brought their teeny, tiny little ones and, had really great experiences, and then I have friends who waited, a while and until they knew that they would have the memories and be able to, get on the rides and all of that kind of thing. For me, I think I am so glad we did it. You know, it definitely came with its challenges, it being the first, just like anything else. I definitely, know now, how some tricks on, like I said, food and all that kind of stuff, and that helps. But I would totally do it over again, because I think, just like I said, crying with, her hugging Mickey was just, that's going to be such a big thing for me, and, holding on to that. And now we can build on that, on the future trips. So yeah, for me, it definitely would do it all over again. And I actually did buy an annual pass while I was there. Or the magic key, I guess now
How
they're calling it.
did you do that?
I just had the best luck, let me tell you. So I was hoping they would release them, soon, while I was just praying they would do it on our trip, because I knew that in the past you could apply your park tickets to your annual pass, right? In the past.
Yep.
And I had let mine expire right before I had her, knowing that I probably wouldn't get there. And then the pandemic, and then you can't get them just easy like you could before. And on our last day, they opened them up, and on my app, they gave me the option to apply our tickets to the magic key. It was magic.
You
it was meant to
timed
be
it perfectly.
Yes. The only catch was that I had to be done with the park that day. So as soon as I bought that key, I think my reservations were null for that day on my previous ticket. So I just had to, I waited to the, last possible minute to do it, seeing that they were selling out.
Yes.
So I got lucky. That's all I could say. Yeah.
Yes,
but now
you
I'm
got very
planning
lucky.
more and more trips.
This interview's over. I can't go on from jealousy.
Because they were only open for like a day, right? And then they
actually, when they
shut it
first
down?
announced it, they were opening the lines, and they were like 15 to 24 hour waits or something like that. So I actually had my phone open, thinking that's the route that I was going to go, was waiting in that really long line. And I kept checking it. And then I just happened to check something for our plans the next day and saw it pop up saying that I could use it. And I thought, well, answer there. I'm skipping ahead of the line. I'm going.
Do it now. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can still do that, and that'll work in Florida, and convert your tickets into an annual pass, assuming they're actually selling them. But you're right; you lose any reservation that you have. So if you've got that special restaurant reservation that you made at like that 60 or 90-day window, and you go and convert your pass, like that reservation's gone.
And had it happened the first part of our trip, it wouldn't have worked out as well, right?
Yeah.
Because it happened at the end of our trip, it just worked out nicely. So
I don't quite understand that technological tie-in. That doesn't make any sense, but whatever. There's a lot of Disney tech that doesn't make a lot of sense, but that's
so
a whole
true.
different conversation. It's a different conversation altogether.
When is your next Disney trip with your kiddo?
Oh, with the kiddo. So I have.
I know you have
my
one
own
coming up in
trip
February.
planned.
Yeah.
Yes, for February, the girls' trip. I have not planned one with her, but like I said, I've been planting the seed, and I likely will probably go towards the end of the spring, beginning of summer. We'll see. As she's at this age, she's just changing so much every single day. So I think it will just depend on her, I guess, interest, right? I'm kind of waiting for that interest. She does bring up Disneyland every once in a while. But I think as we've gotten over the holidays interest, it'll probably peak more now that we don't have, let's say, Christmas to look forward to, and her birthday's in February. So she'll, after that, I'm guessing that there will be some Disney interest. So I'm guessing spring.
Got it.
Yeah.
Have you ever done a Disney cruise?
I have. It was a very long time ago. When the cruises actually were first kind of coming out.
Yeah.
So back in, gosh, what was that? 2000, something like that. So it's been a really long time for me.
Yeah.
But I've definitely started to look into them. I think you all are very much into cruises, if I recall.
We have a few.
Done a couple. Yeah.
We may have a few on the books.
Planned.
You may have just booked another one yesterday.
Yeah, they're definitely great for the kids too, because it is very character heavy.
Yeah, I think though that we are going to be planning Alani before we do
Alani's gorgeous
Disney
too.
World or a cruise, and I've been waiting for them to open up Auntie's. I don't know if they've done that yet, but that's an experience that we really want her to be able to experience. And we both love Hawaii, and just for me, Alani is the best spa I've ever been to, and just I just feel so relaxed. It's just so much different from running around the parks. So
Yes.
I really want to try that with her. So if we don't do Disneyland with her again, it will likely be Alani.
And those character experiences in Hawaii are magical. They're
Yes.
so much more
Yes.
laid back, and you even have like the vacation outfits, and every once in a while, Goofy jumps into the pool with you. And
Yeah, or they have their dance party, or
Yeah.
it's great.
awesome, very cool. Is there anything that we haven't touched on that you really wanted to share about bringing a little to a Disney park?
No, I think that I've really, said it all, and I'm probably sounding like a broken record, but for me, everything was just about being flexible, going with the flow, giving them options, giving them food,
Yeah.
just know your toddler, you know?
Yes, 100%. Yeah, you could get all sorts of advice, and those things may work for whoever's giving that advice and their kids, but you've got to know your own kiddo and what works and doesn't work with them.
Exactly.
And
And pivot,
Yeah.
know when to pivot.
be flexible. Absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think that's the main list of questions that we had. I do want to ask some of your favorites, though, with relation to
Okay.
Disney.
Okay, yeah, let's go. Let's do it. I could talk about Disney all day, so.
We could too, yes. Who's your favorite character?
Oh, it would definitely. It's usually a tie for me. So I really like Alice from Alice in Wonderland, but I also really love Yzma from Emperor's New Groove.
Oh, very cool.
Yzma's awesome. Yes.
So what's your favorite movie then?
It's a tie again between those two. And unfortunately, they don't have an Emperor's New Groove experience. It's so hard to come by. So I just end up writing Alice in Wonderland over and over again when I'm in the parks.
So I'm guessing, I could be wrong here, but what's your favorite ride then?
Yeah, it's definitely Alice in Wonderland. Yeah, but my second and third, which are very close, is Haunted Mansion. I'm so in love with the classic Haunted Mansion. The layover is very neat. I like it, but give me the Haunted Mansion any day. I love it. It's so much fun. And then I also love Pirates. Pirates is a lot of fun.
Classics. So you mentioned earlier that you got to go on Rise of the Resistance.
Yes. Yes.
What did you think?
I did my best not to give myself any spoilers. It's so hard because it's just been out for a little while and we hadn't been able to make it to the park. But I did go fairly spoiler free, and that was great because I was able to get immersed. Like, I don't want to give anybody spoilers if they haven't been on it, but it was very immersive. That's what I'll say. And I giggled like a child, like all the way through. Like, it was just so fun for me to experience that, even by myself. I would have loved to, have others with me to experience it, but because of the immersiveness of it, it definitely felt like I was a part of something.
Awesome. Yeah, we love that ride. I think that's one of my favorite rides these days.
Yeah.
Assuming it all works. But
I am so glad that I was able to carve out the time to go, and would recommend others do so. Get on that
awesome.
ride.
Have you been to Disney World? I can't remember if you said you had or not.
I have been to Disney World.
Okay.
So I grew up going to Disneyland, and it's definitely my home park, but Disney World, I used to live nearby when I was a child for about a year or so, and my dad and mom both worked there for a short period of time, so we had our annual passes there, and so it was definitely a home park for a while, but then moving back to the Pacific Northwest, we kind of migrated then back to the Disney California, but my last trip was in 2009 for Walt Disney World. So we are definitely overdue, but there's just so much more planning that goes into it.
Yeah.
Because I've done it before, I know that I can't just go for a quick trip like I would for Disneyland, right? Disneyland, I can go 3-day weekend. I'm good. Let's run over there. But for Disney World, I know that I don't want any less than 10 days, 8
Yeah.
to 10 days for Disney World, because there's just so much to do. And I know that
Yeah.
for me, it's going to be a big trip. So we've been putting it off so that we can make it that big trip.
So we know, Tiffany, you're Disneyland over Disney World, but do you have a favorite park, like
Out of all
a
of them?
specific park out of all of them that's your favorite?
It's changed over time. When I was young, I'm going to age myself, but MGM Studios.
Yeah.
I loved that park. I think that's the last time I went, for me, it missed it a little bit, so it's no longer that park. Like, I think for me now it's probably classic Disneyland in California out of all of them. But there are things in Disney World that definitely, trump some of the others. Like,
Yeah.
they do the water parks really well. Like, I remember just loving the water parks even as an adult. So and the mini golf, I remember the mini golf was a lot of fun. So just the extras, right? So I know that doesn't really answer your question. I like it all. I like a little bit of all. I want a sampling, right?
Nice. I mean, but obviously, like, Disneyland has the best pirates. I mean,
for sure.
Yeah. I mean, let's just all call a spade a spade.
But then Walt Disney World also has the Hollywood Tower Hotel, which I'm really upset Disneyland no longer has. So, like I said, it's just there's a sampling of everything. So it's hard to pick just one.
Cool.
Do you have a favorite hotel or resort on property?
In the Disneyland resort, whenever I go with my husband, we stayed at the Grand, if we can, the Grand Californian, because he really likes the architecture and, just it's grand.
Yes.
I love the Disneyland Hotel just because I love that tropical, relaxed vibe of the Disneyland Hotel.
Yeah.
So we both kind of pick a little bit differently depending on, is it a girls trip or is it, a family trip? And then in Disney World, I've had the opportunity, I know it's been a long time, but over the years I have had the opportunity of staying at many of them. And Fort Wilderness was really cool, being able to enjoy just that ambiance. I really want to try, I don't remember the hotel name. It's not Fort Wilderness, the campground, but what's the one that is like the camping?
Wilderness Lodge?
Wilderness Lodge. That's the one I want to try because I loved that so much. That one I want to try. And it's very similar to the Grand, I think. And who doesn't love Humphrey the Bear? They have Humphrey the Bear as like their mascot. So I think that's the one that I really want to try. That and the Grand the Grand Floridian. I really would like to try that one too. But we stayed at several, and that one in the Boardwalk I really liked.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite restaurant, like for a meal, favorite place to get a meal, whether it's a sit-down meal or a quick service restaurant? Like, what's your favorite meal place in the parks?
The favorite I've ever been to was Club 33.
Yes.
That one, that's a bucket list item. So for me, I don't know why they won't let me back in. Every time I go, I just want to go hang out in there. So that one was probably my favorite of all time. But something that I always do is go to the in Disneyland is go to the Jolly Holiday Bakery. I just love the vibe there, and they have the French macarons, with the raspberries in them, or they have the special ones for the holidays, and that's probably my go-to every time we go.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of covers it, because our next question was snack, but your favorite thing to eat is a snack.
I love to snack, yeah.
There you go.
I snack around the world. That's
I am a churro connoisseur, so I totally understand.
Yeah. I don't usually sit for the big meals in Disney. We actually do a lot of snacking. We'll do special meals here and there.
Yeah.
I will say one of my favorite experiences, because it's very much like having just snacks, is the dessert experience at the World of Color, where you get to have just drinks and dessert while you watch World of Color at a table. It's just nice because you get to sit for one and you get to snack. So I highly recommend that if and when they bring it back. I'm not sure if they've brought it back yet.
I think we were there I was out there spring this year, and they had it as an option back in the spring. But I was too tired to stay for World of Color, so I didn't do it.
Yeah, we definitely did not do it this round because I wasn't sure if that was something the toddler would sit through. But we did take my 10-year-old niece, and she loved it. And that was something, I think, one of those core Disney memories for her.
Yeah.
So I definitely plan on doing that in the future with Abilene. Yeah.
I don't know that a late night 24-minute show is probably the right thing for a 3-year-old. Like, I don't.
I'm remembering
Speaking from
experience
personal
with
history,
that.
it's
Not for
a,
us or others.
Not good. We had a meltdown experience.
Oh, yes, the meltdown.
Regarding, dinner at Carthay Circle followed by World of Color with, I think he was probably 4, 3 or no, he was younger.
yeah.
He was like 2.5, 3. Oh,
Yeah, he slept through dinner and it was great. And then he woke up.
It is always great when they're sleeping.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
we thought it'd be fine. It was not.
Yeah, he woke up and it's like he woke up a completely different person and he was possessed. And it was like one of our parenting nightmares. And I'm not proud of it, but we bought him out of it.
Yes.
Hey, you do what you got to do. And there's lots of those options.
Yeah. Do you want a blinky Mickey wand? Yeah. Okay.
We may have made a couple of those decisions as well at the pre-meltdown. So we just did a little bit before you.
Sometimes you gotta, seriously.
That's part of that
exactly.
pivoting quickly, right? Pivot
And
right to the store quickly.
that's the biggest change as a parent. Like, you go in as like, I'm never going to bribe my kid to do a thing. Like, that's just,
for sure.
They're just going to be so well behaved and it's going to be perfect. And then, 3 years later.
My kid was going to ride all of the rides with me, and that certainly didn't happen.
It will someday.
Yes,
will
that'll be a
someday.
later trip. It'll be a later trip. Don't worry, it'll come.
I sure hope so.
Well, Tiffany, thank you for sharing all of your insights with us and a little bit about you and Abilene and what worked and what didn't work. I think you've shared just some great tips and tricks, and I really hope that Abilene has a fun time the next time she's in a park, or if she gets to go to Hawaii next or whatever. I think you've got all your bases covered.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I hope that, someone gleans something interesting, at least, from this list, and that help another parent as they're planning their trip. That'd be the most I could hope for. So,
Definitely.
Absolutely. Well, thanks again.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. Have a good one, you guys.
That was awesome. I want to thank Tiffany so much for spending some time and just going over her tips and tricks for doing Disney with a little.
Yeah, such fantastic insights. I wish we would have learned some of those things, a decade or two ago when, it's not too, it is almost 2 decades. Okay, let's stop thinking about this because I don't want to think about how my daughter is about to turn 18. Where did the time go?
Yesterday, all our troubles seemed so far away.
I knew that was coming.
Yep,
Well, we are not affiliated with Disney and we're not travel agents, but we can offer our opinions and suggestions. So we recommend that you work with a travel agent to plan your perfect vacation.
If you have any questions or suggestions, or if you have an upcoming trip or just finished a trip and would like to talk to us about your experience, send an email to podcast@adventuresandmousecapades.com. You can follow us on our socials @OurMousecapades. And please take a moment to rate and review in your podcast app to help people find us.
Thanks, everybody. We will be in your ears next week.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for flying Star Tours. Bye-bye.